Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
Other than the young man I was just talking to, has anybody else been to the hardcore? No. Okay. Tonight and tomorrow morning, we're privileged to have Dr. Robinson give you some words of wisdom. They're not like my words of wisdom, but they're words of wisdom, generally speaking. Did you move to Florida? You're still in Poland or Czechoslovakia or? Oh, Manchester. Well, that's kind of like, well, it's a shithole. I know. We're fortunate here in Britain that the sun never came out too many days. And if you go back and look at weather algorithms from those years, the Romans were here. Because if the sun had come out, we'd be speaking Italian, and the Romans never got past Hadrian's Wall for very long, and they built a wall to keep the Scots, these people, or Picts as they were called, from coming into England. Having lived here almost 40 years, I can understand and better appreciate why they wanted to keep the Scots separated. Well, it's going to be a different kind of experience, the hardcore. Tomorrow morning, I'll split you up into 4 groups. We have one gentleman who is late for whatever reason, and he won't be here till tomorrow. The seminar, the hardcore seminar, like the regular seminars, have been changed to with the times. But I'm going to say this. I don't know if I'll say it 1,000 times, not 1,000, but 50 times at least. Communication and business was changed forevermore about 10 days ago by Elon Musk. Go fuck yourself, as he said on the good financial program for CNBC. Now, I've been telling you fucking morons. Hello, dear. That his favorite word is fuck for at least 10 years. His second favorite word is cunt. But you didn't believe me, and nobody ever fact-checked my research. But it's true. And since I have been around significantly more high-performance people than you, as a group, cumulatively, I can tell you, with one exception, all the high-performance people, except one, swore. And the only high-performance person that I've been around in my entire career that didn't use cuss words, as they say in Texas, was Jim Newman, the author of Release My Brakes, and a mentor to me for 25 years. Now, we've added some new sections to the seminar because we went back and looked at the data, which I didn't believe in data in May of 1993 when I gave my first seminar. Really, I didn't know what that meant, but if I had known what it meant, I wouldn't have believed in it. But now I'm a big believer in data and statistics. And probably I didn't like data because it reminded me of statistics. I got 1 C in college, statistics. When I came back, not the first or the second or the third time that I flunked out, because I had to start over again. But high-performance people swear. And another thing high-performance people do, remember, 98% of the people that are high-performance are not alpha male. You've heard me say that. Fortunately for you, there's a couple of pretend alpha males in the room, but you don't have to be an alpha male, Jermaine. I mean, you don't have to. But you fake it pretty well. And full disclosure, as I go through, I'm his chairman and a couple other guys chairman in the room, and a gal's chairman. But we have a section that I dropped out about 10, 12 years ago on alphaism, but not being an alpha male, but faking it. faking it until you make it. Because even though you don't have to be an alpha male, what you do have to have is alpha male characteristics. And that's how you get deals done. One of which, as I alluded to many, many times in all the seminars the last 30 years, is a takeaway close. I'd get up, slam my briefcase together, and I walk out the fucking door. It almost works all the time. Not all the time, but almost all the time. And if you don't have a real strong alpha team opposing you, it works every time. So we're going to talk about some of the nuances and how the world's changed. I preached for, oh God, years and years and years and years. It's the lowest interest rates in 5,000 years, right? Very few of you took advantage of it. And now you're not crying, but because you know I won't listen to you if you cry, but you're bemoaning, I should have done this, I should have done that. But now the interest rates are high, not higher than they were, but they're still not impossible. And I've told you before during the seminar that I've made QLA model work when interest rates were 18%. 18%. And it works. The deal has to be tighter. The deal has to be structured better. And you're going to hear me say, and some of you have done deals, that now, the last 18 months, and most of you have been here at the initial Castle Seminar in the last couple of years, one of you longer than that, is that we start every deal with 100% seller finance because it can't get more embarrassing than that. Remember, embarrassing offer. And then we move down and we settle in, ideally, the 60-40 model. Now, in the last 2.5 years, to my knowledge, we have not failed with a 60-40 deal. 60% commercial finance, 40% seller finance. And we'll get into that more. When you're looking at the cases that you brought and the cases that were giving you to be part of your group. Each group has about 10 to 12 cases. 10 to 12 cases that we're going to work through. Now, tonight after dinner, John is going to come up and speak, answer some questions for about 30 minutes. And then you're going to see a movie, different kind of movie than you saw last time. And you'll be required in your homework that needs to be to Kim before 9 o'clock in the morning. What's your takeaway? Can you relate to anything that happened in the movie? Can you relate to anything questions that Dr. Robinson answered? Okay. From this point on, everything that I say, everything that Dr. Robinson says, everything that is put forth in the movie clips, how does it apply to me and how can I take direct action? Some of you took direct action or attempted direct action as soon as you left and failed. And you were dissuaded. And some of you rebounded in 2 weeks. Some of you rebounded in 2 months. Some of you rebounded in 6 months. And time's money, and we all know we can always make more money. Oh, I know that. You don't know that yet. We can always make more money, but we can't make up for time lost. Time lost. Having just spent, Sal and I, with our daughter at, where were we? Jackson Hole, Wyoming, with purportedly rich and wealthy people. And mostly, these are my words, these aren't our daughter's words. They all talk bullshit, which is pretty standard. And the more they drink, the more bullshit comes out of their mouth. The things that, they supposedly did. Well, here, a couple of you asked for one-on-one private time, and I said no, because that private time is going to be shared with the entire group. And you're going to have your questions answered, me supervising your answers. Supervising your answers. So, some of the answers, many of the answers, you won't want what is told to you. But you've all been out in the trenches now, and It's not impossible, but it's not easy. And that's nothing different than I told you when you were first here. It's not impossible, it's not easy. And when you use the steps, the probabilities are in your favor. If you don't use the steps, as some of you can attest to, the probabilities switch to the other side. And all we need is a little edge to make this work for you. And right now, the politics of the world is pretty fucked up. We have at least 2 wars that anybody pays attention to. One in Ukraine and one in Gaza. But there's other places where terrible things are happening. The earthquake in China, the volcano eruption in Iceland, amongst others. But this program is working as we speak in just about every place in the world, except for those 2 places I just alluded to, where there's war breaking out. And there's always going to be some turmoil, but you got to take action. You got to pull the trigger. And when you go through these cases and you're around other people that have experienced some of the same things you have, even though hope's not a strategy, hopefully it'll get through your thick skulls so you see the light, so to speak. Any questions before we go to dinner? Do they know how to use the mic? Yes, sir. Is there anything else I'm supposed to say? No? Okay, hit it.